and welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for all your nice comments on my videos. It makes my day. And let's get into the video. So I've been watching the show Psychopaths, and I've seen season 1, so I still have to see, I've watched a couple episodes of season 2. I haven't seen the movie yet, so that's where I'm at. But I thought it would be interesting to talk about how it relates to our world today. I think it's interesting. So, oh, by the way, huge, I always forget this. Huge spoiler warning. Huge for the entire first season. So if you haven't seen it, I recommend watching it and then you can come back. If you really like if you liked Akudama Drive or sci-fi or psychological things, then you should definitely check out the show. So anyways, back to what we were talking about. I feel like it relates to today a lot in an interesting way because you could say that the brains, literal brains of the operation that run the Sybil system could really be a metaphor for overregulation. Like the idea that humans could create a perfect system seems to be one that many people like the idea of. Like this idea that we could govern ourselves or, have a certain economic system or something like that that's perfect without flaws, but yet is regulated by people. Or even I'd say AI just doesn't work. Like, for example, you could say that the sociopathic beings that run the Sybil system are more similar to AI, right? Because the whole thing with sociopaths is that they can be very logical. Maybe they make the most logical decision a lot of the time, but they don't have empathy. And I think when you don't have empathy, you lose something. Like what we see in Psychopaths is when you lose the ability to empathize, you lose the ability to rehabilitate people. You lose the ability to have people have second chance. And you also, I think, lose the ability to have very emotional people in your society, because it seems to me like the Sybil system is basically just finding people who are really emotionally unstable more than anything. Like, I'm not saying that it doesn't know their intentions. It seems like it does, but the fact that people worry about their psychopaths getting clouded, right, could become a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, oh, I'm really worried about it. And then you get more and more neurotic and more anxious. And there's no, and even like talking to a psychologist in this society seems like a trap. So there's really no way out. And my point anyways is that if we had a society that was more run by AI, or like even like today we have these applicant tracking systems, right? And they're supposed to be like, I guess the employers think they're these perfect systems that completely can decide who should be brought to the next round of employment to be interviewed and who shouldn't. But I think that takes out people who might have relevant experience in a different field, or people who just didn't use the right keyword, and then you lose something. And obviously that's a lot less disturbing example than maybe like Psychopaths is. I think it's still like a relevant thought to the discussion. So I just think that there's definitely a danger, and it's interesting. I don't know if there's studies on this or not. I'll look, and if there are, I'll put them somewhere, maybe, hopefully. Sometimes I get tired editing, but yeah, I just think humans really like the idea of stability and things being the same and this perfect system that doesn't exist. And so in Psychopaths, it's just very interesting how everyone's put their faith in the system because it's convenient or it's easy. It feels safer, but in a way it's actually more dangerous. Then like in the one episode in season 1, you have the person who's like in a square, and I remember it was really disturbing. They're like attacking that one woman, and the robot's just like, oh, your psychopath is up, because the other person's wearing the helmet. And everyone didn't even know how to act because they'd been trained for so long, or I think this was the first generation to always have psychopasses, and so they've basically been trained to just go, oh, this, it's whatever. And interestingly enough, humans in general tend to do that. So if they think, oh, I need to, someone with more responsibility, or someone, I don't have the responsibility to end this attack, or someone else will do it. Someone else will step in. So it seems like that was taken to a level 11. And that's the danger, I think, with thinking there's a perfect system, is people will look to the hierarchy of the system to make the decisions for them. It's interesting because, like I was saying, the brains can be a metaphor for so many different things today. Like social media, you could say, well, social media regulates our lives in a way by saying what the standard is in pop culture, or, what the standard of beauty is, or what the standard of opinions should be, right? Like, obviously it's not a bunch of sociopaths on social media only, thank goodness, but I think there's like a kernel of truth in it. And same with, like, you could talk about like credit scores. Like, credit scores seem kind of sociopathic to me. Sorry, credit score people. Luckily I don't work in finance, so I feel like I can talk about it. But, it's like, okay, we don't care about your situation. We don't care what you've been through. It's just, how likely are you to pay back this loan according to our stats, which might not even be right. Because I think human behavior, if I've learned anything, is complicated. You can't just say that a human is not going to improve themselves or change, or be able to do something they couldn't in the past, because you don't know what other factors have changed in their life. So it's kind of like dooming people to do worse when it comes to credit score, and I know that might be a controversial opinion, so I don't even know if I'll include it in this video, but, or maybe not all of what I'm saying, but the point is I think psychopaths is a really timely warning to not overregulate, we do need regulations in society. I'm not a libertarian. We do need regulations on lots of things, but there is always the danger, I think, of the idea is more, to me, of the perfect system. Like, there's so many variables, and to never give people a second chance, or to say you have to follow this specific system, just doesn't work. I think in psychopaths, if it was regulated by, first of all, not sociopaths, but second of all, if there was more flexibility and opportunity for people to, come back, if that makes sense. Like, if they haven't done anything, kind of like what Akane, what she's saying, a lot of the time I agree with. It's like, people can come back from these things, but they need the support to do so. And it's like, it's just easier in the society of psychopaths to just say, well, they're a little more unstable, we have plenty of people, so we're just gonna lock them up forever, which is messed up. So, yeah. Also, I just don't think that sociopaths should, sorry, I have a neighbor looking at me. Do you guys ever think about how people record YouTube videos? I don't have blinds in my room yet, in my office, and I just saw my neighbor looking over at me like, what is she doing? Oh boy. Anyways, I agree with Akane's philosophy, probably more than Kogami's. I don't know. I mean, obviously they need to get rid of the system, so. But they've gone so far. I think it's a good warning. Like, don't make a system like that, future generations. It's not a good idea. But especially, like I was saying, you don't want a bunch of sociopaths regulating your society, because sociopaths, I think they have the ability to live within society if they learn that they need to follow the rules and they need to follow the, sort of the prescribed situation of society. But there's just a danger, I think, in not having empathy in the room, you know, and not being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes and thinking about how they might feel in a situation. Monogamy, I don't think really had any intention of hurting anyone in society, right? He just, which again, he wanted to get rid of what's his name. Kogami is trying to get rid of basically a serial killer. Should he be killed, like the Sybil system says? Should he be executed for their error in not being able to see a sociopath? You know, it's just, it's a very philosophical question. And, you know, also, like, if you know someone is going to do something, should they be doomed to die? I would argue no. I don't think they should have. I don't understand why the execution mode is on, and I don't understand why they don't have trials in this society or how that happened. It'd be interesting to see a prequel of how the society got to where it is today, because I genuinely don't know. I'm assuming some really dramatic event would have had to happen for people to want that much stability. I feel like something really dramatic has to happen, and then people just want to feel safe, even if the safety isn't real, you know. So I think Psychopaths and the Sybil system really illustrates just a lot of issues we have, especially in America. Like, it's a reflection, I think, of how we as a country in the past have been, we want stability and safety, and sometimes we might decide it's okay to lose privacy or be more regulated because of that. So yeah, I think the big takeaway from Psychopaths is don't let sociopaths rule your society. And just the whole, there is no perfect system. It's impossible, and that might stress people out, but to me it's a comforting idea, because it just means we need to be vigilant as humans. We just need to know what's going on, paying attention, and, you know, do the work of figuring out what society we want to be. I think there was an episode, I can't remember if this was season 1 or the first 2 episodes of season 2, but it said something about laws and how laws are just a human construct. So we decide to create a law, and that's what leads to it being a thing. It's just, it's not like it's stagnant and it's always there. We as humans in our society have to decide to keep the law going. Like, we have to all basically agree every day. Oh, that scared me. Want to agree every day that we want X law, or we think, you know, stealing is wrong, right? We have to all decide that as a collective. So it's interesting what humans will put up with, or, you know, decide to be fine with, for the sake of convenience and stability. And I think that's the ultimate message of Psychopaths. I might record more of this later. My neighbor is definitely wondering what I'm doing. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you in the next one.